So what took me from broke to saving a bunch of money were the things that I learned from spending years studying and working in the fields of business and finance. I learned there are simple ways to multiply our income, get better investment returns than professional investors, and how to manage our expenses to make saving fast and effortless. Let's talk about them. Now, when it comes to increasing my income, there's one thing that I've learned to avoid. See, in the past 40 years, the typical household income has tripled in size. However, the cost of housing has gone up 6.5 times in the same amount of time. The cost of living is going up a lot faster than our incomes, and this is due to inflation, which is designed to continue forever. So if we look at the next 40 years, we can see if we're not trying to multiply the value of our time, we're only going to fall further behind inflation and there'll be no money to save. That's why I've avoided many of the side hustles like driving Uber, which doesn't multiply the value of my time. So then what multiplies the value of our time? Well, I've now studied and worked alongside successful CEOs, executives, and entrepreneurs, and I've learned that it comes down to developing skills of leverage. And this has tripled my earning potential. Leverage refers to our ability to multiply our results using the same amount of effort. Because if we can deliver twice the amount of value in the same amount of time, then we can expect twice the amount of money. But the trouble with most jobs is that we spend years getting good at things that don't multiply our value, and so we keep falling behind rising costs of living. So then, what skills give us leverage? Well, as investor and entrepreneur Naval Ravikant points out, there are 5. Skill number 1 is product development, which is our ability to develop many solutions to fix many people's problems at the same time, just like Elon Musk and his Tesla. Number 2 is sales, the ability to take a product and sell it to many people, just like Jeff Bezos at Amazon. Number 3 is leadership, our ability to manage and inspire others to be more productive, just like Bill Gates, the CEO. And number 4 is finance, our ability to make financial decisions so we can invest and grow cash, just like Warren Buffett. And number 5 is code and online media, our ability to use technology to create products that can be infinitely reused, just like Mark Zuckerberg or your favorite YouTuber. Each one of these skills multiplies our results for the same amount of effort, meaning the better we get at them, the faster our income grows. These skills make the difference between those who lead the company and those who work the front line, and the difference between the side hustler who makes millions to the ones who struggle to make $1. So then how do we start developing these skills and benefiting from leverage? Well, we can create opportunities for leverage anywhere. All our jobs have problems to solve, products to sell, people to lead, financial decisions to make, and digital opportunities. We just need to learn how to take these opportunities for ourselves. And this is how I tripled my earning potential. I started by reading books and taking courses on 4 of the 5 skills. And with every chapter, I was able to give ideas on how we could improve our product, connect with more customers, motivate our team, and make more money. And even though these were outside of my responsibilities, over time I'd actually get to chase them because I showed I had the knowledge. I ended up leading projects, helped manage people, and helped make decisions worth hundreds of millions of dollars. This multiplied my earnings because I was solving problems that were worth multiples more. Now, reading and taking courses may sound unsexy, but it's not possible to create leverage unless we know how to create leverage. It's all about knowledge. We get paid based on what we know. And a book is a shortcut. You get to absorb decades of knowledge in a few days. It's one of the reasons why 88% of high earners read regularly compared to only 2% of average earners. So you may ask, what's the best skill to start with? And a good place to start is leadership. Because regardless of your experience or your job, you can always lead the people next to you. But the mistake we make is thinking that leadership requires years of experience and knowledge.
Leadership has nothing to do with rank.
Everybody in the company is a leader, so it's not just about a few people in the executive suite.
And this is because leadership is just about how we motivate people to grow and perform. In fact, the best leaders push people to be smarter than them. Not many managers understand this concept. That's why not many people like working for their managers. But this gives you an opportunity. In my first few months of reading, I made suggestions on how we could boost team motivation, and this is how I ended up managing people. I just showed I had knowledge. And this is from spending years struggling to get a minimum wage job. Trust me when I say reading is the shortcut to multiplying your income. And for a list of books that helped me the most, I've put them in the description. Now, whilst it's great we can earn more money, unfortunately it's not enough. If we don't do anything with our money, it'll actually lose half its value every 20 years. This is because the cost of living increases 3.5% every year. And so we need to find ways to grow our existing money by at least 3.5%. The good thing is there's 2 easy ways to passively grow our money, and the second has been shown to outperform even professional investors. The first is opening high interest savings accounts whilst avoiding physical banks. High interest savings accounts gives you a higher rate of interest compared to normal accounts, which helps you keep up with inflation. But the thing I avoid is opening these accounts with big well-known banks. This is because these banks need to cover the cost of physical branches. meaning they can't offer the best interest rates. Instead, I go with online banks, which usually provide the highest interest rates and other benefits because they don't have to cover these costs. The second place I grew my money is in the stock market, and I purposely avoid real estate because the stock market gives similar or better returns, it doesn't require much debt or money to start. And if we really want to, we can still invest in real estate through real estate investment trusts in the stock market. And the last reason is because data shows there's a way for everyday people to invest in stocks and get better returns than professional investors, but only if we avoid the next two mistakes. The first is being too smart with which stocks to buy. This is because even 92% of professional fund managers can't consistently pick winning companies, because there's too many variables that determine whether a company does well. And so in the long run, these fund managers never outperform the market. Warren Buffett himself bet $1 million that no investment professional could beat the performance of the market, and he won the bet. Instead, a proven strategy and one that Warren Buffett suggests is to buy indexes. Indexes let you buy hundreds of the largest companies but in one stock. This reduces your risk of buying a company that doesn't do well, whilst allowing you to track the performance of the entire market and beat fund manager returns. The second mistake is not understanding time frame. Data shows that investing in indexes gives a 10% yearly return on average. The key word though is average. This means that even during major drops in share prices, average returns will still be 10% as long as people wait long enough for the price to recover. This is because the economy continues to grow even after every recession. It's only when people think they can buy and sell at the right time that they begin to lose money. And whilst you can make a few lucky guesses, data shows you can't do it consistently, just like the professional fund managers I mentioned earlier. As Warren Buffett says, if you aren't thinking about owning a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. And so the data-backed strategy I use with indexes is to consistently buy regardless of what the price is and keep these investments for at least 10 years. I know that if the price is down, all I need to do is wait. Personally, I like indexes which track the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, but of course, none of this is financial advice. But now, this is where everyone begins to face a common problem. When we look at people that start earning a lot of money, we can see a lot of them don't actually become wealthy. More than half the people earning over six figures still live paycheck to paycheck, and there's a continuing trend of lottery winners, athletes, and celebrities going broke. This is because there's a constant temptation to spend money, which if we don't manage now, only gets worse when we realize we can buy more exciting and expensive things. This is why a key part of saving your money is learning how to control your expenses through understanding the psychology of money. And this control starts by realizing that everything we buy is to satisfy some type of emotion. We buy food to relieve hunger, boredom, or stress, clothes to feel attractive, and cars to feel important. Marketers refer to this as our secret needs, and they know the more they tap into these needs, the more we buy. So then how do we prevent marketers from manipulating our emotions, especially when we start earning more money? Well, research shows we take actions on our emotions in 3 steps, with each step giving us an opportunity to control our spending. The first can save you thousands of dollars right now, and that's to get rid of the noise. See, for us to feel an emotion, we need to experience a trigger. And in this case, it's when we see something we like a nice pair of shoes, that triggers this sudden desire to buy it, even though a few minutes ago we were perfectly fine. The thing is, a lot of our buying triggers are somewhat our fault. We follow fancy pages on Instagram, sign up for discounts, keep track of sales, and scroll through secondhand markets, constantly exposing ourselves to marketing designed to make us buy. And so it was only when I decided to get rid of all that noise that I stopped stressing about spending, because I wasn't thinking about spending. So here's a list of all the things that I use to block out the noise. But then what can we do if we've already seen a tempting trigger? We can't spend the rest of our lives without seeing an ad. Well, the second step can save you from the biggest financial mistakes, and that's to double down on what you want. See, the emotions we experience in response to a trigger depends on our beliefs. For example, if we see a nice pair of shoes, we'll only want it if we believe it'll make us look cool, and we won't want it if we believe it'll make us look ugly. Now you might be thinking, well, duh. But what if the things we want to buy are secretly going against our beliefs? See, as soon as I started working, I was focused on saving to buy a fancy car. I wanted to feel important. But all of that changed when I learned I was going to give up 5 years of my life for something that would lose half its value in 4 years. And my desire shot down even further when I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F*** and realized that impressing others won't bring true happiness. The key here is that we stop buying things when we realize they go against our deeper beliefs, the things we truly want. We just need a way of reminding ourselves of these beliefs. So here's 2 questions I ask myself whenever I buy things. The first is that I think about every dollar in terms of my time. If I earn $20 an hour, then is a $300 pair of shoes worth 15 hours of my freedom? Or do I really love working? And if not, could that money be invested to buy more freedom instead? The second question I ask myself is, if no one else on the planet existed, would I still buy this? Or am I ruining myself financially to impress people that don't care? Even though I get tempted to rent a nice place or buy a new car, I haven't, because I constantly remind myself that I value my freedom. So have a think about the beliefs that will keep your spending in check. But now, even though we manage our temptations, every now and then we'll still feel the emotional desire to splurge. So what do we do then? Well, the third step is tackling the root cause. See, after we experience an emotion, our brains push us to take action to satisfy those emotions. Like when we buy food to deal with our stress, clothes to get rid of our boredom, or cars to feel important. But what if we don't need to follow what our brain says to satisfy those same emotions? As financial psychologist Dr. Carol Yip says, we can meet most of our emotional needs without spending so much money. Those needs like stress, boredom, and our sense of belonging can be solved by spending time in nature, learning a new skill, or spending time with loved ones. And the funny thing is, if those emotional needs were met in the first place, then we probably wouldn't even get the desire to buy these things. For me, I've noticed I only want to buy expensive things when I feel a lack of fulfillment and connection with people. The key here is that when we find ourselves overspending, we can pause and ask ourselves, what emotional need am I trying to meet? And is there something in my life that is causing this need? And is there a better way to meet this need? By using all three steps of the emotional process, I've gone from spending thousands on pointless gaming skins to cutting out all unnecessary expenses, even though my earnings have increased. So we've got money coming in and we know where we want to invest it and spend it. But now the hard part is sticking to the plan, because tracking every dollar is tiring and because we're emotional creatures. We can change our plans at any second. But what changed everything for me was having a system that automatically tracked my expenses and managed my money for me. And your bank actually does this for free. See, the problem many of us have is we group all our money into one account. But then to understand how much we have left, we need to track every dollar. So it's really easy to lose track of how much we have left to spend. So to solve that, what I do is I set up 2 high interest savings accounts, one for saving and one for investing. And then I set up 2 spending accounts with 2 different banks. One for living expenses, which covers essential costs that stay the same, like food and transport, and one spending account for fun, which covers things like eating out and shopping. I then set automatic transfers so that as soon as my paycheck comes in, my bank automatically transfers the right amount of funds to each account. This gives me 2 main benefits. First, because my living and fun expenses are always separated out, I always know how much I have left to spend each month just by checking the balance of my fun account. This is because I keep my essential living expenses consistent. And 2 is that even if I get tempted to overspend, then I'd need to withdraw from my savings account, which forces me to think twice and lets me know I need to spend less. By doing this, I've always been able to spend guilt-free and guarantee I meet my savings target all without tracking a single dollar. I was behind every one of my friends in terms of income, employability, and savings, but these steps have turned my finances around. If I can do it, then so can you. Till then, you only live this life once, make the most of it.